2, sweet!
Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. You can find our personal Twitters at the show's Twitter, which is @_JD Sports. Everything else is in the links below on the YouTube page.
Yep.
So, the biggest sports news right now...
What's going on? Is there anything going on?
Yeah, I think the NBA... I mean, I can go into the NHL if you really want to.
You can talk about the NHL. I ain't got nothing to say about it, but I mean...
The Flyers are on a 4-game win streak as of... what's today? Tuesday. It would be Tuesday of the week this is recorded.
You know, I say you can bring up the NHL, and the first thing you have to talk about, of course, is the Philadelphia situation. It made me sick.
I'm actually really excited about that because they make me so angry because most of the fan base checked out about like 5 games ago.
Years ago?
Yeah, I think it was 7 games ago, and then they won a game, and then they lost a game, and then they've won 4 since.
So where are they at in the standings?
Well, they're actually only a couple points behind Pittsburgh for the 8th seed, which would be a big deal if they could knock Pittsburgh out of the 8th seed, because that means Pittsburgh would make the playoffs and Flyers would make the playoffs. There's enough time left for a lot of things to fall into place, but they play the last game of the season, so if things are really coming down the wire like that, it'll be really interesting. That they have the best chance of catching the Pens. Pens are a good team, though. I mean, listen, Crosby is...
That's big for you to say that.
They are not a good team this year. They are not a good team this year, which they usually are, but they still have Crosby, and he's the X factor. I mean,
You actually mess with him a little bit?
No.
Do you respect him, though? Do you really respect him?
Yes, listen, I look at it this way.
You're not one of them Philly fans that just can't stand him because he plays for Pittsburgh?
I mean, I can't stand him because he plays in Pittsburgh, but at the same time...
You respect his game, though?
I understand, I understand what I'm watching when I watch him, and yes, do I join in the chants and, throw my jabs at him? Absolutely, especially if you follow me on Twitter, you see that during the game, but... but you'll see at the same time, I understand what he does, I respect him as a hockey player, and I mean, he's not, it's hard, because it's not like he's the LeBron of the NHL, but at the moment, over the last decade, he's been the best player in the NHL, and I mean, that's...
Okay, I'm not a hockey expert whatsoever, so I'm going to defer to you on this, but I hear this talk, I hear chatter about it.
Ovechkin.
Is he a little overrated?
Who, Ovechkin?
Is he a little?
I love Ovechkin.
I don't know.
I love Ovechkin, and here's how I've always listen. You'll like this. You'll like this. I love Ovechkin. You know who my current favorite NBA player is, right?
Steph Curry.
No, that's funny. That's funny.
Kevin Durant.
No. Close though. Okay, my favorite is Carmelo Anthony. Okay.
I was gonna say, I was thinking LeBron. See, I'm a fuck for that.
No,
I was even going with you.
I love LeBron, but Carmelo Anthony is my favorite current athlete in the NBA. Ovechkin is him. Okay, he is not really conducive to a team because he takes so many shots and he scores a lot and he's up there, but at the same time, it's just like Carmelo, you have to run your entire offense through him. Now, this year, I will give Ovechkin credit, and I've been saying Melo probably needs to do this, especially now in his older days, because it's proven that it's not working how he does it. Mm-hmm. Ovechkin they've deferred more of a team around him. He's more of a decoy at times. I mean, he still gets his, and he's still, I think, leading them in points, if I'm not mistaken, but... I never thought he was overrated. I think what he does is talented, it's very skilled, and if he plays this way, it's very team-like, and he, as the captain, he's taken a step back. He was like, listen, my numbers will probably fall. He's not going to score the, whatever amount of goals he was hitting every single year, but he's still going to lead them, and he's still going to get a little bit of his, but he fell back. I think Melo needs to do that. I think Melo actually, to be honest with you, he's getting to the point in his career, if he's not going to do that, he needs to play with another superstar, and let that superstar be the person who runs everything, and let him get in the offense the way he can, because he could be a good spot-up shooter. We can get into that a whole different day, a whole different discussion if you really want to.
I'll tell you what, the reason why I started to smile when you were saying that whole deferring situation, he's not going to get the points that he's going to get, because it automatically made me think about what we're going to eventually get to, the whole Kyrie Irving situation.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
So
that's funny. That's funny.
That's funny circumstances, but...
To be honest with you, though, we said about Crosby, yes. And honestly, though, if I had to pick my favorite player in the NHL over the last 10 years that wasn't a Flyer, it would definitely be Datsyuk. I thought Datsyuk rivaled Crosby, Pavel Datsyuk. He's in Detroit. The issue is he's kind of sloped off, kind of injuries, kind of age, Crosby has also had injuries,
Sucks.
but Crosby, when he has played through, and this year he's been healthy the entire season, but the last couple years he's missed, 20 to 40 games per year.
Oh, shit.
And 2 or 3 years in a row, it's just been concussions and things like that. They are also on the cautious side.
Concussions?
For the most part. But he was on the cautious side. He actually sat out probably a whole month and a half extra than he maybe had to. Bill, he wanted all the swelling. He wanted everything to be gone before he stepped back on this. Which,
good for him.
But it's not just him. The franchise wanted that because he is, like I said, the consensus best player over the last 10 years. So what are they going to do? You know what I mean? But I think Ovechkin isn't far behind him, and I thought Dasyuk rivaled him for a couple years, fell off, so he's not that guy. I honestly think Patrick Kane is going to probably leap him at some point in the next 5 years or even 3 years because Patrick Kane is insane right now. He's just playing on a different level. Yeah,
that's what I hear.
This is probably the best season since one of Crosby's early seasons or even one of Gretzky's seasons, which no one's gonna touch Gretzky. Like I don't see anybody ever touching Gretzky in my lifetime. But
it's not even a conversation.
He is the consensus GOAT. It is so awesome. That's
great.
very few things. Very few people can say that about their anything. He is the consensus greatest of all time in his.
You know what's weird?
Nobody even argues.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Like maybe
when you think about it, nobody
you'll get some Gordie Howe comments. You'll get some and it's crazy.
Every sport has a couple.
Close. It's not even close.
Every sport has a
couple. He's the greatest. He is the greatest.
And nobody argues.
I mean, personally. Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player of all time, and I think it's impossible to argue that.
Well, people do argue it. I know
because his era was impossible. But his numbers are as good as the numbers are today in an era where nobody they were doing a third of what he was doing. You know what I mean? He was literally twice as better as everybody. That is, he lapped him twice, in pitching and hitting. That makes him the greatest baseball player of all time.
Right, but what I'm saying is that you hear people still argue it. They still say
it's the bat point was mythical though. He was pointing at the pitcher because he was the pitcher. And having words. They were having words at each other.
That's pretty.
So he pointed the bat at the pitcher.
Can you imagine somebody doing that today though?
It happens a little different. I mean, the bat doesn't get pointed anymore. It's more of like they just start jawing. But baseball is so fickle because back when he did that, that was the norm. Now you gotta get with the times. Look at every other sport. There was a lot of pushing and shoving in the Oklahoma City game last night between DeMarcus Cousins and Durant.
I saw that.
I saw that actually. But this is happening in hockey they fight. Football they're always in each other's faces. But baseball these guys
pick and choose.
It's weird.
It's cool. It's cool in this sport.
But it's over the stupidest rules though.
It's cool in this sport.
But it's over the stupidest rules. It's not like
you can't do this over here.
Yeah. Right.
You gotta
get with the times now. You know what I mean? Argue about real things.
We've had that conversation before about baseball. Like they're so automatic written rules and what's.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Your little ticks. Like that's cool. You can do this, but you can't do that.
Right.
Oh my God. Could you random? But could you imagine like we always talk about Cam Newton here. Could you imagine if somebody
Cam Newton would
does what they want?
Like basically, if Cam Newton played in the MLB, he would just bat flip every time.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah, and that's a problem.
That's why UCL Puig.
I like it. I'm cool
but the issue with him is that he had to tone it down because his numbers went down a little bit. And you know what? Listen,
no, fair enough.
What did we say? If Cam doesn't perform in that way,
that's why I don't see him.
Cam, he drops it down a little bit.
That's why I don't see him dancing next year.
Okay. Side note, and we'll get off that complete hockey topic.
We just went.
We were the far away, which
topics.
is awesome. But side topic quickly about the Carolina Panthers.
What's up with them?
I was reading some stuff. They had the easiest schedule, strength of schedule last season. Okay, so that's gonna factor in.
That's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, and I saw a couple numbers on. I forget now. Unfortunately, I forget all the exact numbers that I was seeing on these. But it was just like points per game, points per percentage, like defenses that they're gonna play, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Schemes like.
I mean for next year.
Yeah, right. And compared to what they had to go against this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be interesting, but I think that it's gonna be something that I think Cam learned a lot in that Super Bowl. They better have all learned a lot, to be honest with you, if they're gonna get any better. But that's going to make them change it up a little bit because it's a copycat league. Look at the NFL draft.
Right.
Everyone, I mean, there's 3 defensive ends which are pass rushers in the top 10. I mean, that's
wow.
One's Noah Spence from Harrisburg area.
Wow, shout out to him.
Yeah. He ended up going to Middle Tennessee because he had issues at Ohio State. So he might have off-the-field issues, but they're still saying he could be a top 5-10 pick, which is incredible. They're saying Joey Bosa, and I forget the other guy's name. But, I mean, copycat league. Cam Newton is going to go against more teams like that next year, so he's going to have to wiggle his way around it a little different.
They're going to have to figure it out as a team.
Well, we'll get into that throughout the offseason. All right, we're going to pull this all back in, back to the start, because we wanted to open up with the NBA.
Yeah, what's going on there?
The Warriors.
You mean what the NBA should actually be called? Steph Curry presents the NBA?
Okay.
That should be the tagline
Speaking
on every
of
single
consensus,
ticket.
we were
It doesn't even
talking-
matter if Golden State's playing it. That
Yeah.
should be I don't care if it's the Sixers versus like the Milwaukee Bucks. It should say Steph Curry
Great matchup,
presents
by the way.
the
Great matchup.
Steph Curry presents the NBA. The Sixers versus the Bucks. It's his league and nobody else's. There's nobody even in the
If
conversation.
the
on that.
Sixers bigs could get some offensive rebounds in that game, I think they'd easily win. Anyways.
Well, they're out of the playoffs now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought after the All-Star break they'd make a little
They're
postseason
the first
push.
team eliminated from the playoffs.
So, back to the Warriors, though. Okay.
Right.
You were saying Steph.
Steph
We were
Curry's
talking
league.
about consensus, with Wayne Gretzky, the greatest of all time.
Mm.
There's never been a consensus MVP. Even Michael Jordan never won it unanimously.
Right. No.
This.
I don't know.
Well, who do you vote?
I vote Steph Curry.
I think last year I made a vote. I made I made a pitch for LeBron James to win the MVP. I think that he had a. I think he listen.
No respect.
MVP. Hold
No
on.
respect.
Stop.
No respect.
Well, Steph Curry had a way. Steph
No
Curry.
respect. Go ahead.
I look at MVP as the
Let's
most valuable
explain
player to your team in the league.
Let's explain why you slurp LeBron.
If you took LeBron off that team last year, they were nowhere near that 2 seed.
It's the same story now. So you gonna give it to LeBron this year too?
No. Nope.
No, why not?
Nope.
What's different?
Uh,
Because Steph only is doubling everything that he did last year on top of that.
No, not doubling everything he did last year. He's doing something that it's never been done in the entire history of the NBA. And he's doing it with swag. And he's doing it with some flavor. No one's even mad at him. How is that? How can he?
Because he looks like you and me. Is that why?
Because
everybody likes him.
My man
You know
dropped
why?
a 40-footer.
You know why?
40-footer ran down to the other end, and he did some. He looked like me on the dance floor.
You know why?
Not that good. Not that bad. Not that good. It ain't no one got an issue. It was like,
know why?
yo, dance,
You know
look
why?
at you. Do your hot step.
Because he's soft spoken and they love his kid. They love his dad. Cam Newton is just a fuck. I don't know.
Okay, but my thing is, back to
so
why
are
he
you-
should be unanimous to be an MVP is because
He is unanimous.
Will it happen? And if it doesn't happen, who gets the vote?
There's no.
Who gets the vote?
I have zero.
Who?
Dude.
There's going to be a writer out there because
There
there's
will be.
guys like the
There will be.
Hall of Fame in baseball or guys like the Hall of Fame in football who are writers who are
Right.
we're old school. We're not gonna break this. We're gonna blah blah blah
did-
blah 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 blah. We're gonna be this. We're gonna be that. We have tradition. Where did tradition get you in the 1960s?
I mean,
Sometimes you have to break these things. Sometimes Steph Curry is doing something that no human on the planet Earth. I don't think he's good as LeBron as a basketball player. I do not think he will ever get to Michael Jordan's plateau. But I think if the Warriors pull something off like 5-6 in a row, then he'll be the face, and he might. I mean, that's a potential thing. That's something you talk about down the line.
Right.
As of this moment, I don't think that's an unrealistic shot. So what I'm saying is,
okay,
as of right now, though, he's doing something no human on planet Earth has ever done on a basketball court, and he's doing it better and better and better and better. And like this season is like 10 times better than he's ever done it. He broke his own record in February. We have until April.
Remember when I said that he was the best player in the league?
He's not the best player in the league. He's the best shooter.
Would you tell that
in
to
the league.
his face?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I were sitting here, I would say realistically, you were the best shooter. You were the greatest shooter of all time. I do not think one-on-one you could be LeBron James, and that's what makes me think he's a better player.
Yeah, one-on-one. Yeah, but we're not doing and 1-21 basketball. We're playing the NBA.
I don't
LeBron
think,
had his
think,
opportunity.
I think if you put LeBron on the Warriors, and I would tell him to his face, I think if you put LeBron on the Warriors and you put Steph on the Cavs, outcomes are different, and LeBron is still no. What? And I don't.
What is the point of that comparison?
I don't think he puts the numbers up he's putting up right now. I don't think he puts the numbers up that LeBron does in any way, shape, or form. And they're so much worse defensively in that situation.
That's not even a conversation. You're asking me the reason.
You asked me a question.
No reason to bring that up.
You asked me a question, and I answered it with my.
There's no reason to bring that up. Of course, the numbers will be different. Of course. Because Steph Curry isn't going to be playing for the Cavaliers and doing rebounds and like LeBron's having to do out there. He's not going to have to do that.
You asked me why I don't think he's the best player in the league. That's what I'm saying. That's why, because he can't do that. He
doesn't have to do that. One, and he's a point guard. What point guard do you know is out there doing double-doubles and rebounds?
You asked me who the best player in the league is.
Oh, stop.
You asked me who the best player in the league is.
To bring it around back.
He's the best player on planet Earth right now.
Duh. Steph Curry is, yes.
No, LeBron.
Okay, whatever. Regardless. So you brought up the Jordan shit, right, with the MVP. And when I look back at those years, it's a whole different situation because you did have the Charles Barkley.
No, I'm not against this.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that every year you still had the Charles doing this thing. You had, I don't even know if half these players got MVP consideration, but you had the Patrick Ewings, you had Gary Payton. They were all just playing extremely solid in their situation. But right now, who is playing extremely solid in their situation, my point, other than Steph Curry? And don't say LeBron because it's not LeBron. You ask me who's going to get
Chris Porzingis?
Right, exactly. My point. You ask me who's going to get the one vote, it will be LeBron just by fucking default, and because he has the #1 team in the East, and it's his team.
I love LeBron.
He's going to get the one vote.
He shouldn't.
I don't think
it's so wrong.
I really think, and
it's so
I've been thinking about this actually for a couple of days, and I think it's hard. I can't make an argument, even as much as I shit on LeBron or hate LeBron, I even objectively trying to look at the situation. I can't see anybody else getting a vote for MVP at this point. Right. It's Steph Curry unanimously, in my opinion. Who the hell else do you give it to? I don't. He's not gonna get unanimously, but if there was ever a case, this is pretty damn good case.
Okay.
You don't think that they don't feel? Do you think they feel disrespected from how last year they were like, oh well, you just walked into it. You lucked out with the injuries in the West. You lucked out with the Cavs and their injuries.
I thought that was.
You don't think they feel disrespected because they come out and done.
And they've done something that nobody's been ever doing.
That's about to be unanimous back-to-back MVP. And if he isn't, something's wrong with these writers.
It would be insane.
They're exactly what you said they are, which is a bunch of old and a bunch of. Let's go with that.
Traditionalists.
So why we bring up going?
What about? Can I give you one more before we even talk about the game that they played on Saturday night?
One more.
What about Klay Thompson getting a vote for MVP? He's sticking right there with him. He's not far behind him. His numbers aren't far behind him.
No, I don't disagree, and I love Klay Thompson, as you know. I thought
he wants an MVP. He's come out and said before he thinks that he has a chance in one day to win an MVP with the roster around him because he feels like it helps him.
That's awesome.
He's really not far behind him.
And you know what's awesome about him though? He's also okay with being the other guy.
Steph's brother.
Yeah. But he's really not. He is kind of.
He's his own guy. He's
He's kind of disrespected in a way.
He ain't got the swag that Steph does. He can't hold. Listen, you compare Cam and Steph, right? But they can hold themselves own in they're standing on their own plateau. The way they do interviews, it makes themselves special. In their own ways, in their own completely and separate ways. But they stand on their own as individuals. Klay Thompson, no offense to him, falls, and that's not a bad thing with the rest of the crowd. He's not really going to say the. It's not that Steph says things borderline. It's just that he has a way of saying things that if they are controversial or borderline, you can laugh it off and be like, oh, that's funny because he's got the cute smile. You know what I mean? The wink. Cam Newton, same thing. Cute smile and the wink. Clay's kind of like, I'm a...
Klay might put up the numbers, but in comparison to who
he's trying to be like Eric Snow. You know what I mean? Off the court, not on the court. Not on the court at all. Not even close.
Just don't disrespect Klay Thompson.
Eric Snow was a solid basketball player for a very long time.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Ask LeBron.
Stop it.
Ask LeBron.
Stop it.
Ask LeBron.
You just stop this. Why do you disrespect Klay so much?
No, I like Klay. Oh, Klay. I was a bigger fan of
You
Klay.
just compared Klay
off the court, not on the court.
Oh, for the love of shit.
Um,
No, I don't know what you mean. What? Why? Why is he like Eric Snow?
because he's like the sheep. He's like the herd. Just don't. Hey, act like Russell Wilson after a loss.
I don't even think that has anything to do with it. I think like
No, that's exactly why. That's
Klay's
exactly
doing his
why
thing,
he's
but-
not as popular as Steph Curry.
you put Klay Thompson on the Lakers right now. He's playing like he's the MVP, but he's playing with Steph
agree.
Curry.
I agree.
So
No, I agree. I completely agree. He would
Steph
get
just
other
plays
votes.
that much better.
Okay, what about another one? Dame Lillard, possibly, because since what was it, the second week or
maybe.
first week of February, he's been fourth in the league in points, and he has carried that team. They also have really good two centers. They have two really good centers. But he has carried that team overall to the net. You know what I mean? To
They've
where
been
they are.
surprised. They've been completely surprised.
But he is launched it in the last couple weeks.
Does he get that other vote?
That's what I'm saying. Is he a possibility?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't know. I think where I'm at, as far as like with LeBron getting out of the vote, to me, it's kind of just like that. Just been there, done that. Like you expect that out of him at this point. Now it's just like it is like the Jordan aspect whenever
The Jordan fatigue.
That's
what they call it.
And the
That's what they
writers
call
were
it.
just like,
Eh.
oh yeah. Can we give it to somebody else? And Steph's kind of that guy right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I can see Damian Lillard getting it. I'm not mad at that.
So you said about well, Steph's gonna win it either way. But
Yeah.
back to them on the Saturday night game. Steph pulls up, has the most ridiculous
I'm
shot.
really mad that I didn't see this game because I forgot about it.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was really irritated. I was
Actually,
extremely irritated, actually.
I watched the whole first 3.5 quarters at the house. I was
Now, he knew I had other
drinking
stuff
with the
going
parents,
on,
right?
so...
I was drinking with the parents, and one of my buddies came over. We ended up going to a bar right there with about 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We pulled back up to the bar. We were listening on the radio actually, and so we get to the bar. We see everything out. We see the Iggy, and then we see Iggy do the truck. But
I saw the highlight, but I was so mad I forgot about it.
Best part of the night for me is Steph's running down the court, right? With that after the Russell Westbrook miss. He's running down the court and he stops from, here to the camera, here to the wall behind the camera, like way too far away from the 3-point line. And my buddy at the bar yells, "No!" And he absolutely drains it, and everybody in the entire bar erupted. It was one of the coolest things because I like being out for you never get to see buzzer beaters and you know what I mean like that.
No.
I got to see with a crowd, and it was insane.
You know what's funny?
We all went nuts.
There's a picture online I saw earlier today, and it shows right as Steph's about to shoot it, you see
Oklahoma City players.
No, the fans. There was like 6 or 7 of them, and they all were like they were like, because they knew even how far away he was. But he was just over the free throw. He was just over the half court line.
He was actually he was still in range of he was parallel with the logo, the Thunder logo.
And was there any question that he wasn't gonna make it?
He was. When that ball was in the air, I was like, nah, no way. Like,
then you remember who that was, and this is why Klay doesn't get any attention. I'm just saying.
He's rewriting history. He's trying to rewrite his own legacy. He's trying to put himself up there with the greats. Listen, the talk and the buzz right now is insane. Here's my thing. Not put him on this LeBron or MJ pedestal one day. You got to keep that buzz for as long as they did. You know what I mean? The difference between them and other athletes
is that
Kevin Durant had a portion of his early in his career where people were saying he rivals LeBron. You know what I mean? That's taken a step back. You know what I mean? Things like that. So I'm not saying Steph can't do that and he can't be that guy because he is doing stuff that we haven't seen before. He's doing it at a rate that we've never seen it done before.
So if he wins again, is he that guy?
He's getting there. You got to keep that buzz.
If he wins again, he is that guy.
LeBron and MJ did it over. Listen, MJ did it over almost a 15-year span. LeBron has now done it over a 12-year span. So the difference of being that guy for 2 or 3 years, and the difference of I love Allen Iverson, and Steph Curry might go down more towards a much better version of Allen Iverson because he's got the championships, he's going to have the MVPs. But most popular player in the league for a little bit while Jordan was there. Jordan's still known as the better player completely overall because the stint was way less. There was a 2-year period where they were saying that Iverson was better than Jordan. There's
Right.
obviously Steph Curry's getting that right now, and as he
Jordan
should.
Jordan was on the tail end, and LeBron's on his tail end.
That's
well,
what I'm
he's not quite what Jordan was on his tail end. But
And that's what I'm saying. And Steph's doing it earlier in LeBron's career, and he's
Mm.
doing it. He's winning championships and multiple MVPs. That makes him the much better version of Allen Iverson.
Right, I got you.
That's where I'm going with that.
All right, fair enough.
Jordan's still known as the much better, greater player, obviously. And LeBron might go. If you can't do it for the longevity that they have or that they will, then you might not be able to get thrown on that pedestal. It's just how it goes.
LeBron talk makes me laugh. Anyway. So I got a question about this. We're stuck on this whole Steph Curry situation.
Yeah.
And I heard something interesting today when I was just listening to this shit. And somebody brought up and said they wonder if Steph is good or bad for the future of the league. Because you got him shooting these crazy shots like he does. Is that going to encourage the next generation and the generation after that to start shooting like that? And I never thought about it until this individual said it, and I was like, first I was like, no, then I was like, oh, maybe, and that could potentially be a situation. Like, we've already seen, like, it's transitioning out of the big man league, and we're seeing these big men shooting. I'm not saying they're going to start shooting like Steph, but they're getting more outside of their comfort zone. They're shooting jumpers, they're shooting 3-pointers consistently, effectively, and it works for some of them. Basically, what I'm saying is, do we need or want to see the next generation of kids just shoot? Well, not even just shooters, but shooting from the distances because they think that they are Steph Curry.
All right, there's gonna be
when they're not.
There's gonna be a 2-part answer.
You can shoot threes all day. That's cool. There's
There's gonna be
3-point
2-part
shooters,
answer.
but don't shoot like you're Steph Curry when you're not.
First part is my theory on the NFL in that situation is you only get what your farm system's giving you. It's not like the MLB where you get to choose your farm system. In the NFL, you get what college gives you, and it's the same way in the NBA. Well, if these kids, no one's playing center in college. Everyone is a forward or
And
a
the
guard.
NBA doesn't even acknowledge centers in the All-Star game, which
So-
again is disgusting.
But that's only because college has been giving them that for the last 10 years. So there is no dominant big men. Shaq said it best in that in that regard. He said it's going to take somebody from a younger age to literally put their mind to it,
To just be a big man.
and to just be a dominant big man down low, to see the potential.
I feel like that could happen if somebody gave a shit enough.
Right.
Because there's nobody to compete with.
Well, that's how. Well, we'll get back to the part of that is that's the balance of sports is that
Right.
it goes back and forth like that. It's
Yeah.
a copycat league,
Right, yeah.
so everyone copies one way, but until you find a different way, you know what I mean? Until
Yeah.
you're Steph Curry, and then everyone's gonna do his way. But right now, everyone wants to be LeBron. So the next 4 to 5 years, you're still gonna get kids who grew up idolizing LeBron. But right now, those kids that are in high school who are in that potential, in that body stage where they can either bulk up and try to be big like LeBron or try to stay thin.
They realize they could be
and
our
hit-
size,
and
be
hit
my
deep
size,
shots.
and your size,
Right,
and just
hit deep shots all day. Right, and that's
and
my
make
point.
a killing.
So that's so.
Oh man, that could be
Part
bad.
two.
That could be bad.
Okay, part
That
two
could
of
be
that.
bad.
Part two of that.
It's interesting.
The NBA has talked about because of this in the future.
It's gonna be a 4-point shot.
Yeah, adding a 4-point line.
Okay, I was just being a fuck. Is that
No,
what you
adding a
said?
4-point line. Okay.
No,
Hold on.
no. Okay, that's gonna kill.
You know what
me.
they're gonna do?
Don't
No,
do that.
listen.
That's
People
gonna kill.
people said that about 3-point line, and it is
Right, but-
wonders for the NBA.
Yeah,
Let me give it to you this way.
no,
Let me give it to you this
I don't
way.
wanna see that.
They're gonna try it out in the D League, obviously for a season if they do it.
I'm not for
I
that.
think I think it's an unrealistic chance.
I'm not for that.
I think it's an unrealistic chance,
Yeah.
but they're gonna talk about it.
I mean, you want to talk about the evolution of the game. Obviously, like you said, they said the same thing about the 3-point, but oh man, like so that's what I mean. Like, are we going
20
to
years
start
from now, it might just be like a normal thing.
right? But where do you draw that line? Is it going to be right after the half court? Like where Steph shot it against Oklahoma, is that where the 4 points going to be at?
I mean, he had
my
plenty of
God.
room between him
So,
and
no.
the line to make another line.
Okay,
Well,
20 years from now, that's
they
good
have to
for
box the court bigger though.
Let's say next year they do that. Let's say next year it happens and it's in the league, it's in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years from now it works out. The next 5 to 10 years is just like, oh man, because you're just gonna have everybody and their mom trying to shoot it. It's just,
No, the three actually didn't change basketball for a very long time. It took until Reggie Miller for people to start using the 3 in the way that they're using it now. The 3 was kind of like coaches didn't use it. Coaches just ignored that it was there. They still played a big man's game. They still played nothing but down
you
low.
had the players that played that game though.
Not really. Nobody was really more than a 20-foot shot. Like
Except
people.
Larry Bird.
Well, but then exactly he was. he was one of the most rare. That's why he was so good at the 3-point contest, because he was one of the only people in the league shooting threes at the time. People weren't doing that, and it wasn't actually like Larry was. He was the exception. He was the exception to the rule. People weren't shooting threes at any kind of rate at that point in basketball.
I don't know. I just don't like that.
Steph's shooting double the amount. Now he's also making it at a way higher percentage, but he's shooting double the amount. Like I read a stat last week. He made 66, I think it was 66 3-pointers. MJ made less than 66 3-pointers 5 times in his career.
That's insane.
Steph did it in a week. Right, so that's what I'm trying to say, is like total different game. And,
so are you for it?
And Jordan's a jump shooter, you know what I mean?
Are you for it or against it? Because
the 4-point shot?
I'm completely against it. Evolution's cool and all, but I don't know, just something about it is
I'm for transpiring the game. I think they need to open the court up whether or not they add a 4-point shot, because I think that you need to make those corner threes as long as the arc threes. I think that will just, because those corner threes are shorter. They're like 3 or 4 foot shorter. Let's make them, the game is more athletic. It's faster. But I mean, it's happening in the NHL. The NHL rink is too small, so everyone's colliding harder because everyone's going faster. Refs are getting ran over left and right. Now that's obviously it's easier for ref in the NBA to get out of the way. You're not on skates and you're not boarded in. You can kind of jump out of the way a lot quicker and a little more freely. More room on an NBA floor, but they need to make the NBA floor a little bigger so they can make those hard. Yeah. Well, if they're making a 4-point, they have no choice but to make it a bigger. But then the 4-point, the corners will be shorter, just like 3 is now. The 3 will just be a bigger arc, but a more wide arc. Right. But I think they need to open the floor up anyways, because this game is so fast right now, and outside of guys like LeBron, because LeBron can use the fact that the court is so small and just run through everything. You know what I mean? He's like sometimes he's like Taz. He's like the Tasmanian devil. He just like bounces off everything and then goes to the hole. You know what I mean? It's just like boom, 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 boom. You're gonna have guys like Steph. You need this. The game is gonna be running a lot quicker. Things are gonna be happening a lot faster. The game, it's going to be played more from line to line instead of, it's going to be played from foul line to foul line instead of from hoop to hoop. You know what I mean?
You know, can I get brothers to focus on their free throw before we worry about a 4-point? I'm just saying.
Who are you trying to call out?
Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan.
Wow. You love both of them.
I do. Favorite players in the league. Bunch of scrubs. But that's only 2, but they're the most.
So, last thing on the Warriors.
What's
You want to talk about this, because I don't think it's that big of a deal, but
what's that?
You said something about it to me in the pre-show meeting. Draymond Green? His comments?
I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought it was hilarious. For those who don't know, Draymond basically, he had a little tirade at halftime apparently. Supposedly, well, according to reporters and Stephen A. Smith and, you know, a bunch of people. It's not just Stephen A. Right. And then
from ESPN.
It's not just, well, I don't know.
It's mainly ESPN.
Anyway, regardless.
That's my opinion.
Apparently,
that's not fact. That's my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Well, apparently Draymond he completely blew up at halftime because I guess head coach Steve Kerr was showing a play of Draymond's where it was a horrible shot,
right.
And I guess I don't know. Draymond felt like coach was calling him out, and he was just like, "Well, if you don't want me to shoot anymore, coach, I just won't shoot." And I guess it just escalated from there. He's called him MFer a couple times. He dropped a couple F-bombs, even more than I do on this show, which is a lot. And and I guess things got heated, and then Coach Kerr was like, "Man, just sit down, like relax." And he was like, "MFer, why don't you just come and make me?" Apparently, you know, everybody was like trying to calm him down, and Draymond was like, fuck it, I'm gonna take my shoes off," and he was like, "I just won't come out." And then cooler heads prevailed, I guess, and he came out and he was cool. Apparently this is the first time. Apparently this is like the most escalated it's ever gotten. Right. This is the first time apparently. How do I feel about it? It doesn't really bother me. I think it's hilarious. But I do think it's ironic that it's talked about in the media, but it's not talked about. Okay. Like it was like it was like a footnote, but it was just like
won because it was because it was the way it ended because of all that. Let me put it to you this way.
What if he didn't come out on the court? Because then that's a whole. Let
me put it to you this way. That if he said all those things is definitely a tad bit childish. But let me.
It is, but number one, but number two. What we tend to forget, it's sports. Mm-hmm. We get heated. this happens.
I was literally just gonna say.
It's not an issue. It's really not an issue.
While it's a tad bit childish,
It is childish.
At the end of the day, how many locker room fights do you think happen without us knowing?
All day, every fucking day.
Thank you. There's got to be probably once a week. There's probably a locker room.
And
fight
people
somewhere.
say a lot worse than MF or come make me sit down.
Right. To each other, to their teammates, to their coaches. Okay.
This is why the NFL had to, start throwing flags for what you say on the field because
Is it a respect issue? Maybe, possibly.
Maybe.
I don't see him on an everyday basis, and I don't know how he respects Steve Kerr and the other people he was talking to in that room.
Mm.
But what I do know is if that was a lack of respect and discipline in that moment, but that's for Steve Kerr and the people in that position to handle. That's the reason that they're there. That's the whole reason that they're there.
See, it would have been
and that happens often.
It would have been in-house if it wasn't so loud.
No.
I don't have an issue with it. I thought it was hilarious. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny just because it was just like, well, you don't really hear that. And, it happens. Like I said, you blow up. Dude,
if Cam acted like that for 1 second, though, this would be the biggest thing in the world.
If you and I are playing NFL 2K5 and I throw an interception, I'm going to throw a couple F-bombs and be heated about a situation. I'm going to feel some type of way.
So he actually does that for a living.
That doesn't mean I take it personally.
Right.
That doesn't mean you take it personally.
It's like,
it just happens. It's heated competition.
He was angry.
Especially when you're in front of your peers and you feel like you're getting called out in front of your peers.
Yeah.
You like Steve Kerr, who are you?
Yeah.
Why don't you go out there then?
Yeah. I'll stop shooting.
And then Steve Kerr's like, I got a couple of them things. So
Steve could probably actually go out there and shoot better than Draymond.
He could probably back up Steph. That was that shot. I mean, that night he could have. I mean, Jesus Christ, what was he owing? I don't remember off the top of my head. He was
Draymond?
Yeah. He had like 10 assists though.
Yeah, and he's a baller. He's a baller at everything else. He's a solid player. He needs to figure out how to get his points staying down low.
But he needs to figure out how to tame himself a little bit because from what I keep hearing a lot recently, this was even a couple weeks ago, is that he has not even just a short temper, but that he is a bit of a loose cannon out there, and he just needs to chill the fuck out just a little bit.
That seems to be happening all over the league because somebody who I'm not really like calling out players, but
I don't know.
Somebody who I think needs to chill out a little bit. Kyrie, man.
Yeah, this is your story. So how do you? Yeah.
Well, as a LeBron fan,
right. I know you really feel some type of way about it.
Over the last couple of months, I would say, I've been very anti-LeBron acting the way he is. I don't like that LeBron wants to be the GM. I don't like that he wants to be the player coach. I don't like that he wants to pick the coach. I don't like that this, that, and the next.
Still doing everything that you just said as of
Right, no, now, as of this exact moment. No, as of tomorrow. It's not going to stop. And I think, part of the reason that I thought the Heat were put together better because, A, Pat Riley still had most in control.
That's the answer right there.
They put way better shooters. They put way better shooters around their big three. And
number two.
Yeah, big three was...
Okay, well, fair enough.
Different.
But what you were saying, I was going to continue with that and saying they put a lot of mature veterans in the situation that understood what their role was.
Thank you. Yes.
And they were okay with it because they wanted to get a ring.
But now
we got this punk kid. I'm not this punk kid that's saying.
Kyrie has always had issues if he didn't get his. Okay, even in college. Even in college, I think when they lost in the NCAA tournament game, he still scored a ton of points throughout that game. And that was one of the only games he played that year. Good. Yeah, but his team didn't win. Right, and it seemed to be the recurring theme with Kyrie is that he scores a lot of points but his team don't win, or he's very athletic but his team don't win. Sometimes when you're Dwayne Wade, you take a step back and you're like, yo, LeBron is the best player on planet Earth. At that moment, he was the best player on planet Earth. So
LeBron was,
if Dwayne Wade...
Dwayne was also kind of he was hurt and he wasn't quite Flash anymore.
And if he could take a step back, then you can too, Kyrie.
Kyrie feels like he's Flash.
Well, but Kyrie is... But scoring 35 points and having LeBron do everything else isn't conducive to your team if you're not winning.
I don't disagree with you, but I also understand Kyrie he was the alpha. He went from being the alpha to now he was...
When he signed his contract.
When
did he sign his contract?
I was going to say, this. I'm not going to disrespect him. I almost said the side chick, but he was he was the sidekick to LeBron. And
he's number 2 now.
Right,
he gets the phone call at 2 a.m.
Now Kyrie's
he gets a phone call at 2 a.m.
Kyrie's a 7 right now.
If LeBron ain't home.
Kyrie's a 7.
Shout out to the 7s.
I'm keeping at it.
Sometimes 5, sometimes 6. Well, we had to meet in the middle at a 6 because other people didn't think she was a 7.
Kyrie's a 6.
According to some people, he's a 5. According to other people, he's a 7. So I just made it a 6. That's how I look at that.
Anyway, so
You can be in the middle. That's what I figured.
Kyrie's a 7 right now, or a 6. He's not the main focus.
LeBron's dropping to a 9.5 with the way he's tripping, though. So part of that.
So Kyrie's tired of being a side chick. Is that what the story is? He was used to being the main. Okay.
He signed a contract when LeBron wasn't there.
Kyrie,
so he thought he was going to be the man for 5 to 10 years.
Kyrie thought he was the main person in the situation. He found out he was a side chick now. He feels some type of way about it. He wants to be the main chick again. Unfortunately, there's a bigger and better option now in Cleveland, which is LeBron. He's the better chick out right now in the situation. He's the 9.5 and Kyrie's the 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no, we don't need this 7 anymore. We got something bigger and better over here. Kyrie feels some types of way about it. And now there's an issue because he's not getting his
Right.
typical side chick.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And I'm keeping that whole conversation.
You just sum that up, but my issue with Kyrie is you have an opportunity to... LeBron can run the point for 50 to 60% of the game. You can run the point for the rest of it. When you guys are on the floor together, that's literally roughly 40 to 50% because LeBron, you'll be off the court at sometimes. So if LeBron's doing it 60% and you're doing it, a good amount, whatever. But my point is that if they could figure out how to divvy it up the right way, and Kyrie can take that step back, and he can use LeBron. LeBron is a great passer, and he's a great spot-up shooter. He can also catch the ball, go down low, take that bump, and still get the layup type thing. Or he's explosive, and get to the rim. He can dunk sometimes type thing. Whatever. But he can kick it out, and still get his assist. If you run your offense completely through LeBron, he's going to open up. He opened it up for Wade. Wade got his, and Bosh, not all the time got his, but just like K-Love is now getting his. He eventually did. You know what I mean? And they all had their moments. But they all had their big moments. And
I think it goes back to what I said was that Kyrie wants to be the alpha, and he's not.
He has less patience also.
Right, and he's not about swallowing that. Right, and Wade had every reason to at that point because, like I said, he was a flash. He knew he was slowing up a little bit. Kyrie doesn't feel like he needs to. He feels like he's Russell Westbrook out here, and he should just say, "You're KD. I don't really need you. Like it's cool to have you around, and you're my boy and all, but we can do I can be on your level. I don't necessarily need you per se to get this rolling." A la Russell Westbrook most likely feels that way, and I feel like he does. I think that's where Kyrie's at. He just has this mentality. He knows he's in his prime. He knows he can do what LeBron's doing, if not better than LeBron, and he feels some type of way. Do I agree? Yeah, I think he does need to kind of just get over the numbers at this point. Like, can you go out there and win a championship? Yes. And he's since come out and said, well, the ultimate goal is to get a trophy for Cleveland. Well, that's great. Well, then stop complaining, stop your bitching. Why is all this conversation coming out then? And just do your thing and have LeBron do his thing. Figure it the fuck out. Kevin Love sucked it up. It took him a while. It's gotten quiet on his end. I still don't think he's happy, but it's gotten quieter on his end.
He's got his buckets though.
That's true. So just Kyrie, get yours in. Go out there and get it.
If all three of them got it every night,
get it.
They'd be hard to beat.
Absolutely.
But my issue with Kyrie is the same issue I've had with Carmelo Anthony, who I said was my favorite player. I feel like Carmelo hasn't changed his style of play to win.
Not at all.
And it seems like he's cool with getting his points, and sometimes. Yes, while they were winning and he was the vocal point of it, it's incredible, it's amazing, and it's like, man, you're doing your thing.
Man.
But at the same time, you have years over the last 2 years, and it's like it seems like he's not really concerned on trying to make them better or get traded to a better team.
He gets his. That's all he cares about.
But that's my issue, and that's becoming my biggest issue with him. Now, until he changes his style of play, I hope he stays in New York because as a Sixers fan, I love watching them be miserable. But if he wants to eventually start winning and change his style of play, I hope it's out of New York because I don't want them to be winning, and I don't want him to be winning on them because I'd like to root for him again. But
so do you think Kyrie and LeBron and Cleveland in general can get this situation together?
That's going to be 110% on Kyrie. My issue is what do you do if you're the Cavs?
They just can't catch a break. They can't. First they lost LeBron,
and
they got him back.
Yes.
Huh?
There's always an issue there, right?
That's what I'm saying. They had LeBron, then they lost him,
even
then they
when
got
LeBron
back.
wasn't there. Even when LeBron wasn't there.
Then when LeBron was gone, and then Kyrie wasn't happy, but they kept him. Okay, cool. Now we brought LeBron, and supposedly Kyrie isn't happy about that. Then you bring in K-Love, and he's not happy. Like, it's just a never-ending, nobody's happy situation.
Ever.
Is it Cleveland or is it the players? Like, what is the problem? They got rid of the coach. Is it the organization? Is it just a bunch of alpha males trying to be top dog and
Sometimes it's from the top down, and the top guy right now, Dan Gilbert.
Possibly.
He's the reoccurring issue, the Dan Snyder of the NBA possibly.
Yeah.
But
sometimes you're a 9, sometimes you're a 7.
But then LeBron will absolutely get slayed if he leaves Cleveland for leaving a bad situation though. Again, he gave him a second chance.
He should get slayed for it. No, I'm
coming
home. I'm here to win for y'all.
And
this is my hometown. I came here for y'all.
Listen, I think this is. I think what's going on in Cleveland right now is as much his fault as it is an unstable organization because he's choosing and picking everything, and that's why I don't think he'll ever leave Cleveland because he can choose and pick everything until he retires.
I hate to say it, but they will burn that city down to the ground if he leaves like a second time.
I think he'll stay forever just because he literally has control until he wants. He has control. He probably after he retires he'll probably have control.
I'm not even going to disrespect him and say he's that stupid and ignorant. He's not going to leave again. He's just, I won't even say he is. If he does, he's,
as a business move, if he doesn't change himself around or figure out a way to make that a more desirable place for better players or more stable people to come to, he's gonna have to figure something out because.
Yeah, from a business perspective, it's okay. Like from his perspective, it's great, but from every other perspective, you might want.
So you brought up quickly before we get to a little bit of NFL news. You brought up D Rose to me earlier. What was your thoughts on him?
Well, apparently D Rose has a hamstring issue again. Shocker, D Rose is hurt. Breaking news. Knock on wood. Jesus.
He'll be back soon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the story of his career. Well, no, according to him, his exact quote was, well, if I'm healthy, I'll play, but if I'm not, I just won't play. And he was real nonchalant about it. It was just interesting. It was just a little tidbit I heard about. Yeah, it goes back to this whole, I want to look out for my kids' future. Meanwhile, they're like real little kids, and he was talking about like you got to take them out to the prom next year. When no, they're actually really little and they're good. You worry about your career right now. Worry about the city that put all their faith in you, and you were the MVP, and you were the next great player, and you ain't been around since, bro. Worry about that. Worry about how we're talking about. Should Chicago blow their system up, their situation? They lost the coach. They were talking about getting rid of Powell. Joakim's been on the bench. He's been hurt. Jimmy Butler's now hurt. Should he be the franchise at this point? I think at this rate, you might just go with that. And now you got Derrick Rose nonchalant. He's just worried about growing his fro like Andrew Bynum out there, and he just doesn't give a shit what's going on.
I look at the D Rose situation in two ways. One, I think we live in an era of guys like Calvin Johnson retiring early just because they don't want to deal with injuries and they don't feel like having to put their body on the line because they made enough money. And I think we also, I'm on the other end though. I'm with you. Go out there, put your body on 100%. That's what you're getting paid to do. It's a little different in football because they're banging their heads together. This is basketball. I mean, yes, I know he wants to be able to walk, but it's not. Look at Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, he was able to walk throughout his whole life. Dr. J, look at him. He was the highest flyer for a long time. He's probably aching a little bit, but he's walking, and look how old he is. So, you kind of, it's part of your job. Get out there. I mean, put 110%. You're going to make the most money you absolutely can. You can set your kids up for the future. And, worst case scenario, man, you have some bad knees. I wish that's going to be, I mean, the amount of money you're making, go out there, put your body on the line. There's a lot of people who care a lot more than you do about that, unfortunately.
I'm glad you said a situation about caring. You want to talk about not caring? Does he just not care?
But it's not. They don't do it for fans. It's a player thing. They don't do it for fans. They do it for themselves. And
I don't even know if he's doing it for himself.
I
don't think he even wants to be out there.
I understand that, but most players do things for. Most of the time it's a self decision. They're not going to put the fans first.
He's the biggest baby I've seen. Just well, maybe I'll play. Maybe what if I can't? I broke a nail. I can't really grip the ball the way I want to. I think I want to sit out. He just comes across. I'm not gonna say soft, but he just comes across as this dude.
Dwight Howard.
No, I won't even go that far.
He just doesn't care.
As far as not caring, I just don't think I don't think he gives a shit about the fans. I don't think he gives a shit about the organization who's put so much faith in him. To me, it's time to just cut ties.
Well, yeah, but where does he go? Where does he want to go? You know what I mean? And if it feels like he doesn't want to play there in Chicago in his hometown, what does he want to do?
If and when he leaves Chicago, it's a wrap on his career as far as I'm concerned. Will he get another gig? Yeah.
Lakers.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, it'll be like a Rondo situation. Be like, oh well, he was great in Boston, and then it was like, well, who wants you? And
yeah, I agree. You're still putting up your points, and now that you're acting like you care, Rondo,
nobody cares.
Right.
And you're on a team that isn't doing it. So moving on.
So on to the NFL.
We got some NFL news.
Well, to start off,
In March?
we have a little bit. Franchise tag. We're gonna start off with the franchise tag.
Word.
Biggest names on that list. Okay, I'm gonna go personally who I think the best. Josh Norman, best cornerback in the league right now. He worked with the Panthers a little bit. Got some stuff sprinkled in because he was willing and able of this. So
It's different.
Yeah, it's a little different, but hey, I think players should do that personally. We'll get into that one day. Von Miller, he got franchise tagged.
Making like 14 mil, I think they said. Holy
Yeah, just sack quarterbacks all day because that's what he does.
He just, yeah. Anybody else?
Kirk Cousins, Washington
Really?
quarterback.
Really? Well, I mean, they count.
Now, that's a lot of money for Kirk Cousins. Like, will he ever sign a deal that is worth that much in a year? No.
No.
Will he ever
You know
sign a
what?
deal that's even worth a third of that much?
You know what? I want to kind of.
half?
I kind of want to laugh. I mean, we're obviously Cowboys and Eagles fans, so I mean, it's kind of a funny situation. But
I can't.
If
I
you-
literally,
objectively,
I'm
you
not
can't-
allowed. I'm not allowed to laugh at Kirk Cousins. I was at the Eagles Redskins game this year. He did that in front of my eyes. I was like 35 rows off the field. I watched that happen.
You know why I can't laugh? Because he had objectively, he had a solid year. Realistically, from Washington's perspective, they just got rid of RG3, which was their
No,
franchise.
this made so much sense for them to do.
This is what I was getting at, is that we can't really knock it, and obviously, I guess they're more so begging on, okay, you did it 1 year, do it another, then maybe we can talk about it long term. But
So
you pay him, I guess, what is it? Is
So
it the
everybody asked
14
me
million?
the year yeah. So everybody asked me the year after Nick Foles had that breakout season with the Eagles, what I thought they should do with him. And I said, I think, like, nobody was saying this. I said I thought they should trade him because I thought he was never going to have a season like that again. Well, I thought the year after he got hurt, right before they did trade him to the Rams and his contract was about to be up, I thought they should have just franchise tagged him because then you have that extra year, you find yourself, they worked out perfect for the Eagles because the Bradford situation was a 1 year deal anyways. Same kind of concept though. Well, no, it worked. I'm talking about contract-wise. I think it's better for teams, contract-wise, if you have guys like Kirk Cousins, Bradford, or Foles when he was with the Eagles, where you're not sure what they're going to do in the future. It's perfect for your team to do the 1 year deal. This works out for Kirk Cousins better than it did for anybody else because he got the 1 year deal and the most money.
And it worked out for Washington because they didn't have a choice because of the fact that they drafted these two quarterbacks in the same year, and I was like, why the hell are you doing that?
He'll be able to.
And
He'll be able to walk if he wants to next year without them having any opportunity to have any way, shape, or form of stopping him.
That's a whole different conversation because then how much of a shithole an organization are they? If they lose two potential franchise quarterbacks.
Well, they had the opportunity to sign him
a year.
They had the opportunity to sign him long term this year. He was willing to do it. They wanted to wait that extra year. That's the risk you take. That he might be now angry, ball out, and say, "Ha, yeah, I don't like you guys."
Or we know Snyder likes to spend money, so maybe he will.
Yeah, overthrow maybe. It's very possible. So
that's interesting.
Eric Berry also got franchise tagged, the safety from the Chiefs who was diagnosed. I think it was a form of cancer last year, if I'm not mistaken. But he was clear of it, and he had a really good season. He got franchise tagged, so he's gonna make a lot of money this year as well.
Good for him.
And I don't know if I mentioned Justin Tucker.
No.
Justin Tucker.
No, he got one too.
Yeah, the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens. I like him though; he's really good. He's gonna make a lot of money.
How much is that
I'm
for a
sure
kicker?
it's probably like 10, somewhere 10 to 12. I would say.
Well, good for him.
Maybe a little lower, probably 8 to 10, but still.
Good for him.
Yeah, but Kirk Cousins, Josh Norman, and Von Miller probably making the most money out of all these deals.
Right.
As they should. Maybe not Kirk Cousins, but as the other two should. What about... Okay, so two big signings. Not necessarily. It's more re-signings. One was reworking his contract. We'll get to that in a second. The Philadelphia Eagles did not know what they were going to do at quarterback, and they got Bradford for $4 less million than he wanted, and for 2 years with a pretty easy way to buy him out at the end of next year. If they draft a quarterback this year and Bradford doesn't really necessarily work out this year, they could possibly do that, or they also give themselves the leverage to sign him to a longer deal if they would like. I was a Bradford supporter at the end of the year. That was also when Chip was there. I like what Peterson did with the Chiefs. I like what Peterson did honestly over his whole career, especially with quarterbacks. Bradford's so questionable that who knows, as long as they get somebody different than Sanchez as a backup, I'm not against this. What's so bad about what they did?
Your organization makes me laugh.
Why?
So much.
They were
first of all,
pleading for Bradford since they fired Chip. They were pleading for Bradford.
Okay, number one, I am of the mindset that if y'all would have got rid of Philly, you would be saying the same praises That's just my opinion. Maybe you wouldn't have. Maybe you don't feel you would have. But you would probably, in my opinion, probably still be praising the organization's decision to just say no, Bradford, but because it's a rookie and we're just gonna rebuild. Rebuild chip. I can completely see you doing that. You can disagree. Fine, okay.
I said it before. I want them to draft a quarterback, but I also want Bradford to be there for the next season. I said it the week they fired Chip. I said I want them to draft a quarterback, but I said it when Chip was there though. That was kind of the plan. I wanted. Needed a little more now.
Right, so...
No, that has to be the plan. You can't just go into that blindly, especially with this quarterback draft. You don't have an Andrew Luck in there. You need to re-sign somebody. Bradford is probably the best unfortunate option. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Listen, Drew Brees didn't look all that good, and then somehow blossomed because of his talent.
Stop it. Don't even make that comparison. Stop it. God, there's that Philly in you.
I'm just saying
you would make that comparison.
There's examples.
That's not an example. That's a 1 in a million opportunity.
It's an example.
It's not no. Don't even make
it's the exception to the rule. It's the exception to the rule.
Oh, there's no reason to even make that conversation.
It's the exception to the rule.
Anyway, Sam Bradford, injury prone Sam Bradford. Mm-hmm. Oh my! I can't believe you're just making that comparison. I can't stand Philadelphia.
But you just said exactly what everybody said about Drew Brees.
I can't stand.
I'm not saying he's going to be Drew Brees. I'm just saying that that is the mindset that they have. They think he has good talent. I'm trying to tell you that's the steps that they're following right now. But they're also going to, hopefully, in my eyes, set themselves up in case it doesn't work. Because to be honest with you, I don't think most people are wrong in thinking that he's not going to work out long term. I think that he excelled over the last 8 games of the season. But it's going to be a different system next year. So now I have no clue what he.
So you want a rookie to come in and
behind him.
Where are they going to learn from him? How to
I'm not telling
not
him
get injured.
No. Don't learn from him. Learn from the coaches. Get some competitive. See how it's supposed to be done. Stand on the sideline for a year. Listen, there is no Jameis Winston in this. There is no Cam Newton in this draft. There is no Marcus Mariota. There's nobody that can step in my eyes, day one, and make your franchise good. And the Eagles are. I don't know if they're trying to win today or if they're trying to win a year or two from now.
They don't know.
That's my point, though. But they're more set up to try to make a run at the East this year. So you need somebody who can possibly do that.
Who could potentially do the same thing that he was doing when he was in Philadelphia, because now he just lost the one system. He just lost the one system where he had the best year of his career.
But the 1 year
he just lost that system.
He played in St. Louis.
1 year.
The 1 year, yeah, his rookie year. Okay, and then
Can I just walk off now?
Do you know what he did?
I don't care about his rookie year. Let's talk about what he's done since his rookie year.
You said about how his whole career. I'm trying to explain to you. You said about his career. I'm trying to explain to you what else he did.
I'm trying to explain to you as an Eagles fan that doesn't listen to logic and reasoning.
He was
the best year of his career
when he was a rookie. He got hurt the next 2 years, and then last year. I'm not saying it's going to work out. How many times do I have to tell you that? That I'm not saying he's going to win the Super Bowl. What I'm trying to tell you is that the best move for the Eagles right now is what they did, and I think the better move would be to get some reinforcement behind him, because it is a quarterback league, and you have no clue what he's going to do for it.
Who's he throwing the ball to?
I'm not sitting here arguing with you. I don't know why you're trying to make this. We're having 2 different conversations here. I'm telling you what they did is a good thing for the future of the Philadelphia Eagles.
For the future.
I don't know what's happening right now. I have no clue. They need to figure out what they're going to do on the outside. They're not going to be able to.
For the future if you don't know what the future is.
Because I'm not sitting there listening to their conversations. What they need to do is, you're absolutely drawing the blueprint out. They need to go figure out what they're going to do at wide receiver. They're making the right moves on defense. They still have to figure out the Fletcher Cox situation. But overall, they made all the right moves on defense this offseason before free agency started up. You're absolutely right. The biggest thing they need to do now is figure out the wide receiver situation.
The biggest thing they need to figure out, other than that, yes, the wide
offensive line.
Okay, so 2. And number 3, what system, because that's all I hear out of Philadelphia, talk in any sport, is their system. What system's going to work for Samuel Bradford?
Everybody runs systems.
What system works for Samuel Bradford? Because he just lost the best system of his career.
No, I completely agree.
So what? So that's
my conversation to you earlier was about, I don't like how players. Somebody said that he didn't want to play for Chip Kelly, and I was thinking that's crazy for him to even just throw that right out the window, because that is the best year of his career. I mean, he played really well in college in a similar system. He played him.
That was like how
the last 8 right, but I hear you. But the last 8 games of the season last year, he was playing at a top 10 quarterback level at times. You need to, why wouldn't you try to follow that and get better under that? Whatever. He apparently either liked the organization, or at least he liked what Peterson pitched to him to be able to do. I think Peterson did well with Alex Smith, and like I said, I like what Peterson has done with quarterback. Peterson made quarterbacks at Boise State look a lot better than they actually were. Kellen Moore played in the NFL for a little bit. all because he played at Boise State. That's you know what I mean. I mean,
It just so is he going to make him the pocket passer that Sam Bradford apparently wants to be?
a lot better, a lot more of a pocket passer. Absolutely, his system won't be zone blocking. It's
So
going to be more up
so
front, run downhill, push
objectively,
forward.
with an actual opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because I know you're not going to get one because you're a Philly fan. Does it actually work? Does Sam Bradford, he doesn't have to even replicate what he did last year. Does he play better than what he did when he was in similar systems with St. Louis? Does he have those type of numbers? Are they better?
Part of that's going to be the talent around him. He has the.
Do you think that it could be?
That he could be? Absolutely, because I think Sam Bradford has a. I think Sam Bradford has a skill set of an elite quarterback, but hold on. I don't think Joe Flacco has a skill set of an elite quarterback, and I think Joe Flacco is an elite quarterback. So, that goes both ways. That goes both ways. It's all about how you use it. It's all about how you're coached. And also in the NFL...
Phillip Rivers is an elite quarterback?
No. The most overrated quarterback in the history of the NFL, probably. No.
Oh, my.
Phillip Rivers is an elite quarterback? What?
He's not?
No. His team is down 20 points all the time. That's why he gets so many yards.
His defense sucks.
And when his defense
But
didn't
Sam
suck,
Bradford can have that situation?
I don't know. No, Sam Bradford.
You
Here's the
don't
issue
know.
with Sam Bradford.
You don't know.
Sam Bradford has.
You don't know.
Sam
At
Bradford
this
has-
point in Sam Bradford's career, you don't know if he can be a elite quarterback or not. You don't know that at this
Can
point
he?
in his career.
Can he? Absolutely. He has, like I said, he has the skill set to do it. At 110%, he can. Will he? I have no clue. That also is going to depend on what
The correct answer is if Sam Bradford was any other team than Philadelphia, he would be having a completely different conversation right now. I'm just saying.
No, I was actually for when Sam Bradford tore his ACL the second time. I thought that I was saying that the Rams should have given him that extension because who was out there? Like, what are you gonna? I thought that they should have given him that extension. They could have got him for cheaper at that time. I said, go look at the old Tuckles.
He has the potential to be an elite quarterback.
I didn't say no. I said that he has the skill set of a number one overall draft pick.
And Phillip Rivers doesn't have that? You're saying Sam
No,
Bradford has
no.
that, but Phillip Rivers doesn't have that?
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
No. What? No. Okay. There's more. There is more than just running to the outside and throwing as far. Okay. Let me put it this way. Brett Favre is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. His skill set is not as good as Sam Bradford's. His skill set. You have done it. His skill set. Like you're talking two different things here. Like and Phillip Rivers doesn't have the makeup of everything else you need in a quarterback that Brett Favre did. I'm talking leadership. I'm talking.
So does Sam Bradford have that?
Has he
You
shown
don't know
it?
it?
Has he shown
No.
it? He
hasn't
sounds so.
shown, he hasn't shown
absolutely
anything
not.
other than an injury.
He has not shown it in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes when teams win, the laid back, cool personality like Joe Flacco turns out to be, oh look at that, oh look at how cool and laid back he is. And then when you're in Sam Bradford's situation, it's like you're a little too laid back, man. Like you got to be a little more rah rah, like whatever. So I don't know what's the better version of that. Sam Bradford hasn't shown to be the guy who's like rah rah, I'm gonna lead you out.
I guess to finally just try to wrap up this conversation in particular, and I think we can actually maybe agree on this one. When I say I don't understand, I don't know, nor do I understand the direction your organization, and I'm gonna trying to be as objective as possible. I don't understand or know the direction you guys are going. They signed him to a 2-year deal. Where's this organization gonna be? What is a 3 to 5 year plan with this organization? I don't know. I don't understand it. Is it maybe it's to draft that quarterback, maybe to mold this quarterback?
I can tell you what they're this season they're thinking this season's going to determine a lot for the future in their mind because the next season they take such a big salary hit with the whole DeMarco Murray situation and the way Chip was kind of. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a second. But the way they're wheeling and dealing, it doesn't matter if he's staying or not. They're going to have to eat some of his salary no matter what, right? So that puts him in a bad position for the year after because that's when he gets paid the most. So what they're going to do this year is they're going to try to figure out if they can compete in the East because the East is kind of weak except Dallas at full strength. So they want to see what happens there. They want to see what Washington does. They know they kind of competed with Washington. Not really, but they were right there. For the most part, right, and that's kind of their thought. I mean, they weren't eliminated until the week before last week. You know what I mean? They were only eliminated week 16. So the potential is there. That's at least what they're thinking. They also have to realize that there is going to be a step back the year after, unless they figure out a way to make salary cap moves or move DeMarco and his salary the whole completely off type thing. But
Right.
so I think that this year is determining what their thought is for the next year, because either they're going to have to take a step back and try to rebuild then and go for the year after and then fire sale if that happens, or you try to figure out the DeMarco thing and maybe you utilize him. But I don't know how they figure out the rest then, because the salary really does turn a little bit in 3 years. Everyone's getting 2-year deals in Philly right now. It's kind of a big thing.
I don't know. To me, it just sounds like a complete clusterfuck. To me, it sounds like a
The
clusterfuck.
DeMarco Murray thing is
sounds
going to
like
hurt them in the long run, and that's why it looks so
It
scrambled.
sounds
because-
like a clusterfuck of the unknown.
Well, they're getting pulled in two different directions because they want to go and compete right now because they feel like they can, but at the same time they also know that the storm is coming, and when that storm hits, it's going to be, can they withstand that storm salary wise, and if they can't, then you need to have the fire sale before that storm hits. Do you know what I mean? If they can sign Fletcher Cox for a 4 or 5 year deal, they're going to be out after next season. They're going to have to trade him if they think that the storm's going to be that bad. Do you know what I mean? It's a game of chess that we are actually, like, I would love to be a fly on the wall and listen to their conversations about it, because it would help.
That you would.
Oh my gosh, it would help so much. It would help clarify so much in my mind.
It would, because like I said, to me it's just a clusterfuck of the unknown right now in Philadelphia.
But at the same time, look at Dallas, because they're not, unless they draft a quarterback this year, like, what do you think that, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be a storm hitting at one point.
I don't want them to draft a quarterback.
So why?
Is
Tony Romo
initially
really your guy for 3 years?
Well, according to Jerry Jones, he's the guy for the next 3 to 5 years. I don't necessarily agree or disagree.
I think Dallas has to figure out something.
No, because you know what you do.
What if he gets hurt again?
No, it doesn't matter. You know what you do at this point if you're Dallas. Well, number one, you need a veteran as a backup. Number one, in my opinion, you should get something. I don't know if it's RG. I don't care who the hell it is. It could be fucking Joe Schmo out here.
Should be RG3.
It could be just Joe Schmo over here. What's up, Joe Schmo? You could be the quarter. You could be backup.
Should be RG3.
Cool. But as far as because where our draft pick is, we're gonna be within the top 5. I forget what the exact number is.
Don't use the first round pick on it.
A lot of analysts and shit are saying, well, they should go with a quarterback in that situation. No, I think you should go the best available, because like you said, with the Philadelphia situation, there isn't a concrete, oh my God, we need to draft this quarterback. He could be something. He could be there. There isn't that, so I think Dallas needs to look at that as well and just be like, you know what, no, let's take the best available. What do we need outside of potentially looking at the future of this? If Tony Romo is our future moving forward for the next 3 to 5 years, why don't we just stick with that and go with something that is actually going to benefit us now and the future? Worry about getting a quarterback next year. What are you after? Or like you said, wait until the later rounds and then maybe
that's what they need to do.
You're finding a diamond in the rough.
That's
cool.
what they need to do.
I'm 100% okay, but for the people that keep saying we need to draft a quarterback, because when they say we need to draft a quarterback, they're saying the first round, the first pick.
No.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous this year. You draft what is the best available for the position that you need the most. What that is, I don't know.
I think just best available in general sometimes. I don't think you don't even have to go with what you need.
I'm cool with that. Take the best available player and see what you can do with it.
Okay, so moving on, back to contract talks.
Are we still on contract talks?
Well, Tom Brady.
Are we off in Philadelphia?
Tom Brady got an extension and he took a pay cut, as he keeps doing. What age did you say he will be at the end of the contract?
42. In 2000, I think it's 19.
I think he's got another 8 years in him after that.
Stop it. Stop.
50? Could we see the GOAT at 50? Could we see the GOAT at 50? See, the only issue with that is Belichick ain't playing. Belichick ain't playing that long.
You can stop.
He said Belichick ain't gonna play around that long. He's gonna be done.
Okay, I guess my immediate question is:
do they retire together? Quickly, and then tell me. What are your question? Do they
No.
What are you telling me?
No.
I agree. I understand. Yes, Tom goes
Tom
first.
probably. Yeah, he's going first.
Keep going. I hope not. I hope they retire together. Keep going.
Oh, do you think that this? I'm going to play to my 42. Do you think that lasts in New England, or does he get like 1 year in a different team with a different team?
No, I think in his mind, if he's going out of pat. There's no he wants to be one of the last generational players that played for one team his whole entire career. You're gonna have guys like Big Ben.
Nobody does it though. Most of the top quarterbacks don't actually do it.
I hear you, but
most of them don't.
I'm not against seeing Tom Brady in a different uniform, but
Troy Aikman.
But I personally, that's my point.
I'm trying to think of who else really.
But Terry Bradshaw, like what he wants.
Well, right. I mean, like more recent.
And I understand.
Like even Troy Aikman, that's not recent.
Right, I understand what you're saying. But you listen, Tony Romo, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, guys like that. And Aaron Rodgers has that
conversation, right? That
both those guys can go somewhere else. I completely agree. I just think.
So does Brady stay?
I think in Brady's mind, perfect situation is to stay there forever. I think that honestly,
yeah, of course it is. I'm sure in the Patriots' mind they would love that to be a situation, but at some point they're going to have to make a grown man decision.
do I think he would be open to it if the situation popped up? He's not gonna have a choice.
Would he swallow his pride and become a backup for if he could stay in
Yes.
that one?
He loves that coach, man.
Everybody loves their team.
They also run a system that he really only can run around the players he's around. Like Tom Brady, I think, also knows that. We say this all the time, and I'm not going to call Tom Brady a system quarterback, but the system he is within is the best for him. He's doing what I think every player should do, but I also think in his mind there's really no point to go play with Chip Kelly. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, fair enough. I mean, yeah. I just don't want this to become a situation because with Brady,
I think we have a lot of time before it ever becomes a situation.
Right. I mean, the comparison.
He's 38, man.
The comparison that everybody wants to make is the whole Peyton situation. To me, it's not a comparison because Brady's not hurt.
No.
He doesn't have those injuries. Number one. Number two. I don't want to see this become a situation where we're having the Brett Favre talk, which also kind of stems into the whole Peyton Manning situation.
Well, we're about to get into the Peyton Manning situation.
Right. Well, okay. Well, I don't want to see Peyton get into a situation where, or Tom. I don't want to see either one of them. I don't want to see a repeat of the Brett Favre thing where it was, well, I'm still thinking about it, and then it's like you're holding us hostage now, basically. Can we get an answer?
And then you go.
I don't want to see that again because
then he ended up in two different teams.
Because I had a respect and I appreciated it and I was cool with Brett Favre up until that point, and then it was just like, dude, just
too much.
Like, yeah, right. Like 1 year, okay, fine, but when you're doing it 2 years, 3 years, I don't want to see Brady or Manning doing that.
Hopefully they learn from that then.
I don't know. Brady's talking about I'm going to play till I'm 42 now, and it's like
play till he's 50.
New England isn't hoping for that because at some point they know, yes, we love you, Tom, and we respect everything you did for us, but at some point
Garoppolo's going to get old.
We're also going to have to make a decision. Right, exactly. He's going to be a fucking 6-year vet by the time this, like, come on now.
Yeah, Garoppolo wasn't too happy about seeing that contract.
Oh, it's the Aaron Rodgers effect. But stop it. Because at some point, my man's got to get on the field and see what we got. We drafted him.
He's going to have to go somewhere next year.
For the love of God.
Probably. But
his stock is just going to keep dropping at this point.
I would like to see Brady fulfill it to 42. The realistic side of it is probably not, but at the same time, when he kept reworking his deal a couple years back to get to this point, because I think his contract was supposed to end after next year.
Right.
People said he probably wouldn't do that, and here he is at the end, to that point. So
I don't get it.
It's insane. It is insane.
You know what's
He's
funny?
a machine.
I do have to bring up this one point because this was around the Brett Favre time. Actually, a little bit before when people would say, "Oh well, this dude, he's reaching his he's reaching like his mid-30s. Mm-hmm. It's time to call it quits."
Yeah.
And I was always of the mindset of, "No, if you can play, get out there and play, keep it going." And now we have this completely different mindset. We got the Peytons, we had Brett Favre doing it, we got Tom Brady. I respect it if you can do it.
Yes.
I'm good with it. If you can play, keep playing. If you can play at 50. It's never going to happen. But if a quarterback can play at 50, like Tom Brady, I'm 100% okay with it. I'm great with it.
Let me put it this way.
But I hate when people say, well, he's 35, he's too old, it's time to retire. No, can he play?
You just said about Peyton. Is Peyton doing it a little more dignity than Favre because he's not flat out saying he's retiring?
I don't know what Peyton's doing right now.
He's getting bounced, and it's not his fault from either team. He got bounced from the Colts, not his fault.
I don't get it.
And the Broncos are probably going to bounce him, also not his fault.
But at this point, he just needs to call it a day.
He feels there's rumors out there that he doesn't want to.
Well, according to Woody Page, which he's out there in Denver, he's closer than any one of us out here. According to Woody, by the end of this week, he's saying that supposedly Peyton's going to call it quits, and he's going to say, you know what, I'm done.
I think that's more realistic, and that's what should happen.
Right, but now Peyton's saying, you know what, no, I actually kind of want to play, and it's like, wait, okay, number one, you just got your ring. What do you...
Better to go out on sunset.
Why not? Number two, did you not see how you played last year, bro? Did you not see how you...
I agree with that.
I was cool with them going with you because I wanted that experience, but at what point do you just say, you know what,
before we saw how bad he really was, we were talking about teams like the St. Louis and the Texans. Those, I guess, would still be... Now, it's Los Angeles, obviously, and the Texans, but...
There's still options, but I don't want to see it. You
got your ring.
Neither do I.
I don't want to see him come back either.
Go. It's perfect. Go. For the St. Louis situation, it's great for them.
Now, LA.
Well,
St. Louis.
Right. For the LA situation, it's perfect for them because they want that star, but
they get butts in the seat.
It's perfect for them for 1 year, and then it's.
And that's all it would be as a show, and he wouldn't actually play all that well, probably.
Okay, so next year they get.
Foles might go in, or Case Keenum might go in over him. That's embarrassing. That's more embarrassing than Brock Osweiler.
So right, and then next year you get people to buy tickets. What do you do the year after when Peyton finally just says, you know what, this didn't work out. So now you're back to the St. Louis.
Keenum?
No, you're back to the St. Louis situation. You're not selling tickets. But now you're in LA, which is even worse. You need to get a younger RG3s, even.
But maybe that's a possibility that they're gonna go out.
You need to get a younger star. If Peyton was 3 or 4 years, if this was Peyton of 3 or 4 years ago, then I'm saying absolutely get Peyton. That's cool. But this is Peyton of 2015-16 season, and granted he got a Super Bowl. It was kind of by default because Carolina didn't show up. So
this isn't a good idea for somebody to sign him. I don't see him getting at least a competitive team to sign him.
And Denver's saying we don't want you basically, and they just won with him because they understand. You know what? No, we kind of gotta.
We gotta get a little better at that position. We can have an upgrade.
We might have a good thing here, so we need to find out. We love that you got this for us. It's time for you to just head out the door, my brother.
We'll see. There's a couple, little bit of time. When that all kicks in, he'll we'll see if he goes anywhere. He'll gotta have a decision before that happens, though.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, well, what he says this week. I'd say by next show we might have an answer.
Well, we'll see.
If not, maybe someday next week.
Yeah.
Just after.
Yeah. Well,
is there anything else going on?
Not that I know of. I mean.
No, not really. I mean, there's a UFC fight this weekend. I'm not really interested. No. I mean, I lied.
McGregor and Holmes are both fighting, right?
Right, yeah. McGregor's fighting Diaz because the dude that McGregor was supposed to fight got injured.
Yeah.
I love watching McGregor. He's a beast. He's a monster.
Holly Holmes.
I'm more so interested in a Holly Holmes situation.
Yeah.
Fight Maisha Tate, but because it's Holmes' first title defense, it's knocking out Ronda Rousey's ass. I think Maisha will put up a little fight, but I'm definitely going to go with Holly. I don't think if Maisha couldn't beat Ronda, which up until Holly, Maisha gave the best fight to Ronda. Right. She definitely isn't going to put up a fight against Holmes, so.
I don't follow it like you do, so I'm just going to follow your.
I don't even follow it that hardcore. I just.
Yeah, I know, but you watch. You know more about.
I know enough about the women's side at least, just because I follow Ronda. But
I like McGregor. I like the way he acts.
Monster.
I like the way he acts.
He's going to win this hands down.
I don't know. I hope so.
I hope to see it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it live this weekend, but I'm definitely. I'm intrigued. I want to see McGregor potentially knock somebody up. I think Holmes absolutely. I'm calling it. I'm calling Maisha knockout. Maisha knockout. I'm calling Maisha getting knocked out. Yeah. It's the correct response. Maisha Tate. That's a wrap on that. Anyway.
Well, thank you for watching JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. Check everything out.
Deuces.